Hey, let's check out this week's comic haul. We're looking at issue 3 of Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, issue 3 of TMNT, Black, White, and Green, issue 54, The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 7 of Ultimate Spider-Man, and Blood Hunt number 5, Special Bloody Gory Edition. This is part of the Turtles' 40th anniversary. So far, all the Black, White, and Green have just been 2 to 3 page short stories. Each story is a 2 to 3 page standalone little thing, each by a different artist and a different writer. It's all pretty solid. Some stories are better than others, but if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, this entire book is just one giant love letter. It's not too much to talk about here, but it's definitely worth your time if you're a Turtles fan. There's one issue left. I'm definitely going to be picking that up. Next up is issue 3 of Ghost Spider, and this is kind of important because whether it's a comic or a TV show, I usually give stuff 2 to 3 issues or 2 to 3 episodes before I make a real judgment. And with issue 3, I gotta say, out of everything I'm reading so far, this is probably the one I would drop. A lot of questions were asked in issue 1, and nothing has really been followed up on since. Also, the big bad guy here is Chameleon, and it seems as if off-page he's gotten some kind of power-up where now he's basically just Mystique. He doesn't just copy what you look like, he can copy your power set. Overall, I'm a little confused with the main story. The Chameleon stuff is, I guess, neat, but it is what it is. And the art honestly just doesn't grab me. Also, there's a Wolverine and Deadpool backup story. That's a lot of fun. They wrote Wolverine to be a real asshole in this one, but it's cool. It works. Overall, I'd say Ghost Spider is out of 5, like a 2 or a 3. It's good. It's certainly not great, and they need to start answering the questions they laid out in issue 1. Next up is issue 54, The Amazing Spider-Man by Zeb Wells, an art by McGinnis. I gotta say, the art isn't bad, but it is not what I'm here for. Still, I'll take this over Ramada Jr.'s at this point. The story wraps up a, 5 or 6 issue run of Norman becoming the Green Goblin again. Honestly, I'm just glad this story is over. You can tell it's over because they were nice enough to even toss in the end, even though there's still like another 4 or 5 issues left before Zeb Wells leaves this run. There's also a huge missed opportunity where Miss Marvel gets to use Doc Ock's tentacles to fight Kraven and wins off screen. And this entire issue is just Peter and Norman bouncing the Goblin persona back and forth between them like some kind of weird ping-pong demonic possession. I absolutely hate that they're treating the Green Goblin like some kind of spiritual entity demon thing that can possess you. I also absolutely hate how Peter's outfit changes every time he gets possessed. Even though the Goblin spirit shouldn't affect your clothing, it should just affect your mental state, but whatever. At this point, I've kind of just been reading Spider-Man for so long, I'm buying it on the principle of I'm gonna read it no matter what. Honestly, this is a little rough. This is rough. This is probably the lowest rated book here. I'm gonna say this is like a 1 star. I'm gonna say 1.5 just because it's the end of the story, and we can move on. Next up is the special Red Band edition of Blood Hunt number 5. He took it out of the bag, it's worthless now! Ah! Blood Hunt number 5 is pretty good. It's basically just one giant fight for, 20 pages? Crazy stuff happens. Doctor Strange is still sort of kinda dead. That's never been resolved. Doctor Doom is now Sorcerer Supreme. Miles is still a vampire. The Avengers get their butts kicked until a bunch of zombie Moon Knights show up to save the day. That's pretty cool. And the day is saved by Blade's daughter and Miles Morales. So yeah, not too much has changed. The vampire invasion is over, but the people who are vampires are still vampires. Killing the main one did not unchange them. The sun comes up, and for a reason that is not explained, vampires are no longer allergic to sunlight. And the only real out to this we get is Dracula saying, when you save the world then owes you a debt. That doesn't explain how vampires aren't allergic to sunlight anymore. Come on, man. Oh, also there's a giant Atlantean castle in the middle of Central Park now. We'll see if that comes up again. And everything Blood Hunt ends with a worldwide broadcast from Doctor Doom stating that he's the one who stopped the vampires and brought the sun back, and also he's Sorcerer Supreme. You can all thank Doom. Overall, this was good. I really enjoyed it, and the fact that I managed to get the red bands instead of the regular comics kind of just added a little bit of something special to it, because the red bands had extra artwork that the normal ones didn't. And finally, we get to the top pick of the week, Ultimate Spider-Man number 7. Just like a couple issues ago, this one takes place almost exclusively in one location, which you would think makes for a boring story, but it's actually really cool. It's Harry, the Green Goblin, and Peter, Spider-Man, hanging out with Doc Ock, who isn't Doc Ock yet, he's just Dr. Octavius, in what used to be Stark's lab before it got taken over by Oscorp. And this whole thing is just basically explaining how the suits work and how they have different functions. Also, kind of return to the MCU a little bit by adding AI into the suit. Peter's AI is going to be modeled off of himself, so he's basically just talking to himself. And Harry's AI voice is his dead father, Norman. Also, we finally, after like 3 issues, check back in on what's going on with Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson, as they started their own newspaper company a little while back, but we haven't seen anything of it until now. Turns out MJ has managed to convince Gwen and Harry, who run Oscorp, to inject some cash into this and get things rolling. Also, Kingpin decides, I'm going to take care of Spider-Man and Goblin myself. I don't need help. And finally, we get to see what it looks like when the AIs are added into the suits, and we see how immediately Goblin becomes a bit more vicious. There's a nice little fight between Spidey and Goblin, which I guess in a way is just a fight between Spidey and Iron Man, because the Goblin suit is just a repurposed Iron Man suit. Oh yeah, and in the final page, Iron Man returns. Doesn't sound like much, but I guarantee, Ultimate Spider-Man is the best one of the week. That is going to be top selling. It's been top selling. This is good. So that's the weekly poll. I'll catch you next time.